Hello everyone and welcome to Multifamily Monday. My name is Jessie Greer and I am the Vice President of Multifamily Investments at Avison Young. And today I have a very special guest and client, Jerry Hawkins. Jerry, thanks for joining me today.
My pleasure.
Yeah. So we're here actually at one of Jerry's properties, which is 462 Evans, actually in one of the units that he just turned, because we had a portfolio of 2 properties for sale. In fact, we were able to sell the 27 unit across the street, but we're here in the 10 unit right now that is currently on the market.
Correct.
And you know, actually a very interesting backstory. These properties have been in Jerry's family and Jerry's spouse's family since the 1960s. Jerry, I'd love you to tell me a little bit more about Cheryl's Motel Apartments.
Okay. Well, actually since about 1949.
Oh, well, there you go. I was a little off just by a decade.
That's only one kid. So yeah, about 49, my wife's parents moved from upstate New York. They had a thriving business there. Decided that Reno was a better place to raise a family.
Amazing.
And wanted to claim a stake out west. So they came to Reno, bought the apartment building across the street was their first purchase. And as a matter of fact, they lived there when my wife was born.
Wow.
Her and her brother both.
Now, is it where the previous office was at? Was that the original purchase?
Office.
Okay.
Correct. Well, actually, it was called the Rubel Apartments, and it's 429 Evans.
No kidding.
And so that's where my wife was born.
Absolutely amazing. Wow.
So, but...
and they've since added to that particular property, get it to the 27 units it's at today, which was previously sold. And you want to go into the history on that a little bit?
So, probably 10 years after my father-in-law purchased Rubel Apartments, he bought the house next door, which was the office.
Yeah.
And a one-bedroom apartment from the lady who lived there. And he always had aspirations to build a motel. So in '86, he built the unit on the backside of that property, 15-unit motel building. And that is actually composes 38 units if you include the office building.
Yeah.
So that's how that property ended up being what it is today.
Amazing. So I think originally, correct me if I'm wrong, it was 2 separate APNs, of which the adjacent APN was acquired, and then the motel in the back was built thereafter.
Yeah, actually, not quite. It was on 2 APNs.
Okay.
And the motel building in the back was built as one of the APNs, even though it was the same owner.
Interesting.
Not quite sure how it happened, but after we sold the property the first time, the APN was made one APN instead of 2. They abandoned one of the APNs. So, not quite sure how that happened because we didn't have ownership at that point. But
wow, that's fascinating. That's quite the backstory to both of the properties. In fact, you know, I'm going to tell you one thing, Jerry. I wish all my clients were like you. And I'm not just saying that. I'm going to tell you why.
Okay.
You know, it's absolutely amazing when you have someone that you're able to work with and bounce ideas off of each other. In fact, Jerry was able to take a lot of the recommendations that we had. Some he implemented, some he didn't, which is absolutely fine. I mean, he was able to adapt to market conditions. And not only that, but he was very collaborative in the effort. You know, every single time we had certain opportunities on the table, which we'll dive into in a second. But did you know that we've actually been working together since December of 2017?
I am very familiar with starting together, Jessie. I know the exact date. But no, I appreciate that. And I just say that the thing I like about you and Avison Young is you're always adapting and willing to re-strategize and come up with a new plan. You know, this was a 2-year-long project just about to get this sold.
Yeah, it absolutely was.
That's something I've never gone through before as a seller and an investor or a broker.
Yeah.
2 years on a property like this, we had a myriad of reasons that we were in and out of escrow that they fell through, and
so
I
appreciate
your stick-to-itiveness and staying on the job and
that means a lot.
Working with me because I see us as a team.
Absolutely.
And I think we can get more done together than just trying to combat each other.
Yeah.
So I appreciate your attitude of strategizing with me on that.
Well, that means a lot. And you know, viewers, just because we like tracking facts and figures and we provide monthly reports, and over the last 2 years we actually had over 350 inquiries on not only the portfolio but the 2 properties associated with the portfolio as well. And Jerry actually touched upon the point of us going into and out of contract 4 times. And I know you mentioned it, I've never gone in and out of contract 4 times on a property. And the amazing part about this is that it was never due to the property or the financials that we provided, because everything was actual, and the physical components of the property, albeit they are dated, they're in fantastic shape. Fantastic shape. I mean, I think we should try to jog our memory a little bit on at least a couple of the 4 times it fell through.
Well, see, one was a developer. He wanted to acquire the block, and I think he found the barrier of entry, the price point. Another guy didn't. A guy made an offer, and they were all full price offers.
They were, yeah.
And one guy made the offer, and the day he did that, his wife got in some kind of a critical automobile accident.
Yeah.
Another guy wasn't as familiar with the type of loan to value ratio that he was going to be able to get in this area.
Exactly.
And what was the other ones?
So I think the last one was an out-of-state lender. So we have clients that come in that maintain relationships with their existing lender or banker, and they think that maintaining that relationship in a separate market will do them well, when in fact a lot of times it doesn't, because they bring in appraisers from out of state, and the lender doesn't have a good sense of the current market conditions, which might not bode well for this property or any property for that matter that they might be trying to acquire.
And I find you're trying to educate the buyers and their lenders about the region, and that's above and beyond your scope of duties. But I understand you want to try to get everything sold and closed. But I think it's critical to have a lender that is familiar with the area, the region, and the market, like you just said. So
absolutely.
I think that was a couple of problems we had.
Yeah.
People are trying to use their favorite lender from their home base.
Exactly.
And in my opinion, as an investor, go regional.
Yeah. And you know, it's interesting, Jerry mentioned a couple of the times it fell through, which is one of them where we went into contract, but it wasn't contingent upon them going into contract on the adjacent properties because they wanted to assemble. So at the 11th hour, when they were supposed to remove due diligence, they let us know that, no, we're not gonna until we try to get this property and this property in contract. And that wasn't expressed to us. So
well, which I did help them get the one available to
Yeah.
them, but the rest was up to them to do the
exactly.
So, you know, we're always flexible and willing to help any way we can, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So,
well, you know, I suppose the 5th time's a charm. So finally we did sell the 27 unit, and here we are in the 10 unit, which is 462 Evans. Beautiful location in the heart of downtown, across from the Tesla Apple
office and distribution center.
Yes.
Right out this window.
Exactly.
And it's a beautiful facility, actually, state of the art.
Yeah.
No noise. They have very small trucks coming in and out of there. They enter from a block away, so we never hear anything over there.
Absolutely.
They actually have 2 24-hour security guards walking the perimeter.
Yeah.
And they help the neighborhood.
And we consistently see them as well, you know, so very close to UNR, very close to downtown. In fact, we're in an opportunity zone right here as well. 10 units, always occupied. In fact, the only reason why this unit that we're in is available right now is because of a tenant that just vacated, but Jerry just turned it. It looks beautiful and it's already rented. So I don't know.
Which is typical here.
It is typical.
We don't carry vacancies. We never carry a vacancy because of the market.
Yep.
But you know, yeah, we're 4 blocks from UNR in the heart of downtown, but we don't have any students living here.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's kind of, I don't really know why, other than maybe they haven't walked in at the right time.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, especially when you have a development like Canyon Flats, that's just a couple blocks away. I'm sure that'll continue to pull the student base down into the downtown region as well.
You know, there's such a shortage of housing. Maybe I think the new student housing they've built down at the university has helped them tremendously, and they're getting ready to do some more down there. So
absolutely.
Hopefully they'll have enough housing. But I say this is another good possibility.
It is.
So if someone wants to buy this building, see Jessie.
And I tell you one thing, when you look at the cap rates that are out there, and when you look at the cash on cash and us offering this on an actual basis, I mean, this pretty much is the best thing out in the block right now.
I think we're floating right about 8% right
about
now.
About that, yeah.
Approximately.
Yeah. In fact, we have a full offering memorandum that I can send you. Feel free to reach out to myself. We'll be happy to get that over to you. And Jerry, I tell you one thing, I really appreciate your feedback. It does mean a lot. And thank you for taking the time today to chat with me. I'm sure viewers will enjoy the backstory of the property itself, and hopefully we can get this sold here as well.
My pleasure, Jessie.
Thank you very much.
Good luck.
All right.